Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone, for joining us at our October Microsoft Federal Business Applications webinar. My name is Craig Harris, and I'm a technical specialist with Microsoft Federal's Business Applications team. We have some pretty cool content lined up for you all today. I'll quickly run through an introduction and overview of our platform. We'll give some community updates around the business application space, and then we'll get to the main event, which for today will be all about one of our partners, NetImpact Strategies, and some of the cool stuff they have built using the Power Platform. And finally, we'll do a question and answer session where you'll have the opportunity to come off mute and ask any questions of the experts we have here today. And please note the Q&A will not be recorded, so feel free to speak freely if you're comfortable. There's a whole lot of text here, but to summarize, this is a Microsoft digital event, and our goal is to create a safe, inclusive space where our community can benefit from all the expertise each of you and our team can share. We reserve the right to remove folks if things become disruptive. And also, we want to be completely transparent that since we captured your contact information when you signed up for this webinar, we want you to know how we use that information in addition to how you can ask to have your information removed from our list. We'll send emails pertaining to future webinar sessions, links to the recording today once we share it online, and potentially product updates that we think our community would benefit from. Again, you can always let us know that you would like to remove your contact info from that list, and please just respond to us when you see those messages, and we'll make sure your data is removed. We'll leave cameras off for our guests today, but the chat is open, and we have experts monitoring to help answer any questions you may have. Once we get to the Q&A portion, which again will not be recorded, we'll give you the ability to come off mute and ask a question. Please just raise your hand during that portion and we'll call on you. And we love maintaining an open and sharing community experience. So we posted a Microsoft Federal Business Applications repo, link shared here, and we'll drop it in the chat as well, that has all sorts of information that you can benefit from. We post white papers, sample demo solutions, and have a special page carved out for this webinar. You'll see links to all our past webinars, which are hosted on YouTube, and see links to upcoming sessions. When you access the video itself, we load timeline links so you can skip over folks like me talking and get right to the good stuff. So let's go over some cool updates that impact our federal community, either in the cloud or otherwise. First, we're really excited to announce that Azure Synapse Link is now live in GCC High, and our team has even run through demonstrations of leveraging this ourselves. This feature is a great way to close the gap between your Dataverse stored data and your Azure data estates, while also leveraging the amazing tools built into Azure Synapse workspaces. Our team has built out an in-depth step-by-step on how to accomplish this connection and publish those instructions on our GitHub repo here. For ease of reference, we'll drop the link into the chat as well for how you can get to our repo. Second, another One Microsoft story that continues to highlight how you can close the gap between Azure and the Power Platform, but this time going from Azure to Dataverse. Steve Winward from our team put together a great how-to video showing how to connect an Azure table data, or how to connect Azure table data to the Power Platform. Check that video out by the link on this slide, and while you're there, check out the rest of our videos covering everything from these webinars to GCC and GCC High specific demonstrations, such as what Steve has covered here. We've made a quick link for our YouTube channel, which is aka.ms/fedbizapps videos, and we'll make sure that's dropped in the chat as well. And finally, we wanted to call out that our product group continues to maintain and update our cloud feature parity document so that you can track what functionality you can leverage in each sovereign gov cloud and get insights into when functionality is due to land in specific clouds. Our most recent update is current as of this month. And before I finally stop talking and we get to the folks you really want to see, please know that your feedback matters to us. Please feel free to use the link posted here to submit feedback on how we can improve or what future topics you'd like to see. And with that, I am going to stop talking and hand it over to our guests, NetImpact Strategies. Please take it away, PV and Praveen.
Good afternoon. My name is PV Pravada, CEO of NetImpact Strategies. Thank you all for joining us today for this webinar. I'm going to hand over in a minute to Praveen Koski, who's our VP of Technology and Head of our Products. NetImpact Strategies is a digital transformation solutions company that builds products on top of Microsoft platform, as well as an independent software vendor, as well as we have a robust Microsoft implementation practice. Without any further ado, I now want to hand it over to Praveen.
Thank you, PB. Today, what we're going to look at is really a suite of products that NetImpact Strategies is producing and made it available through Microsoft App Store for us to implement across the federal government, tenant as well as various enterprises. So primarily, we will look at the DX360 Security Armor product line, as well as public sector case management product line. And both product lines have variations that provide different use cases where they can be targeted for specific requirements within the federal agencies as well as enterprises. As an example, the Security Armor, it's a multi-framework product that supports RMF lifecycle process for ATOs as well as FedRAMP certifications and so on. And we have a few other additions coming up as well, like CMMC and so on. The public sector case management is really a highly configurable, sophisticated, data-driven case management platform that is built on Power Platform to really provide various type of use cases for case management. That includes FOIA benefits, investigative related cases, as well as regulatory and grants that is also coming up in Q2 2023. And the third product line, we are in development right now, and we are about to start a first version of it at the end of this year, is this cyber supply chain risk management. And this is a product where we can actually track the supply chain risks across various elements of the IT and cyber using the platform product that we're going to be building on. So what I will do first is to go over the DX360 Security Armor product and product line features, and primarily to set the context, what we are trying to do with this product is really help the security professionals, that's ISSOs, ISSMs, CISOs, and so on, as well as the portfolio managers within the enterprise to take a end-to-end workflow process for accreditations that includes the RMF as well as the FedRAMP for right now. And we are including other frameworks like Zero Trust as we evolve the product line. The idea behind is improve the productivity and speed of doing ATOs as well as certifications using the product with a lot of automation built by the Microsoft ecosystem as part of the M365. And that's what I will be showing today. And we'll talk more detail about these automations as well as the features as I show you different screens. Similarly, for the public sector case management, we have a lot of automation built in and data-driven approach for the end-to-end workflow for case management that includes the capabilities that simplifies the overall case processing, as well as various case use cases that can be implemented with the different product lines, as well as the enterprise class application, if that's what the agency needs. With that, without any further ado, I'm going to open up the one of Security Armor first and show you how it looks. Can move the slide deck. All right. So the first part of the Security Armor is really enabling the security professionals to manage the workflow and the workload related to the ATOs or the FedRAMP certifications that they are working on. And one of the challenges presented to us in the past is, as per our survey from various agencies, is where are we with the ATO process and how well are we doing, and when our things are expiring and so on. So that part is tackled very well in Security Armor. And what we're doing is we are providing an integrated project plan capability for each ATO that rolls up to a persona level as part of the My Workload dashboards, where you can actually see your accreditations that you're working on, as well as your team's workload, so that you can jump on it as needed. And also it pulls individual activities that are happening within the ATO process to show on your dashboard to tackle them as part of the process. Then what we have is what we call Smart Assist Wizards. And Smart Assist Wizard is really to provide a capability to quickly create the security packages. One of the challenges today is we would be taking old documents and then creating templates or cleaning up the templates to create the package. Whereas in our case, and that process may take up to 3 to 4 weeks, whereas in our case, with the Security Armor, you can do that in less than 30 seconds by just answering a quick answer sheet as part of the wizard. Then what we have is what we call manage enterprise portfolios. And that includes everything that is happening as activities as part of the enterprise that you can see in one place, what is due, who is working on it, and so on, what type of activities are going on with your security team, all stored in one place so that you can look at and track the workload. Then also we have what we call accreditations dashboard. This is the enterprise class accreditations dashboard where you can see exactly what's happening with various ATOs or FedRAMP certifications as part of the application. So as an example, on the top chart here, it actually shows month by month how many ATOs are being actually expired. And the beauty of it is, as an example, for January 2026, I have 45 expiring. That is a challenge, as we may not be able to take on that many for a enterprise to tackle all at once. So the Security Armor provides the visibility into it, and you can actually go drill into that record set, find out what's happening, and actually take some action on. So the idea behind is all the productivity features that comes with the platform are brought forward for you as part of the dashboards to be able to use it. And same thing to understand where the various accreditations are, the impact levels, approval statuses. By stage, how many are really being done. The next part of the accreditation process is generally understanding the boundary and how much the boundary elements are managed inside the system. Today, it's documents. With the Security Armor, you can actually stage all of your systems information in one place and manage it as a portfolio. And you can actually see how these systems are being included in the boundaries for various ATOs and processed across the authorization process. And we can go much deeper into this discussion with follow-ups, as with limited time, I'm hitting on the high-level elements first. Similarly, the POEMs. The POEMs are also part of the ATOs and the authorization process where we constantly discover what they are. The beauty of the Security Armor is actually provides not only the tracking mechanism for the POEMs, but also provides the ability to link and map these vulnerabilities and the POEMs directly to the systems and the accreditation processes. So you have one-stop shop to find out exactly what POEMs to tackle to really get the ATO process going a lot faster. And that includes the milestones and the standard process that the security professionals and ISO shops really need today. The other part is really cool is the resources. The resources is a full-fledged asset management built into the accreditation portfolio here where you can actually track databases, VMs, cloud services from multiple hosting environments directly in the Security Armor. And the idea behind is if you're including a particular resource in your boundary, you can track it here as part of the process. Similarly, the artifacts. The artifacts is really the way to bring in a lot of the documents directly into the accreditation process, all stored in one place, leveraged the Dataverse platform to really provide the overall capability. Quickly, also, we have a fully baked-in process as part of the Security Armor to go from the beginning of creating the package all the way up to the authorization. So as you have seen, all the data is in the system without even creating a single document. However, the document generation is actually built into the platform. So we can actually generate the documents directly from the Security Armor as part of the process by like the system security plan or briefing documents and so on. So as an example, I'll show you the branding of the documents can be to your agency or to your enterprise, but they are generated with the actual data that is residing in the system directly as part of the templated process. So this provides a full capability from not only managing your overall accreditations, but also processing the accreditations in the system. As an example, I will quickly show you the full lifecycle RMF that is baked in. So what the system provides is all stages of the ATO process built in with the stage gates of what information is must to have as part of each stage. It also automates the selection of information types, importing of the controls based on the actual NIST definitions, assessments for the controls to be mapped, and also the project plan of activities that are part of the actual ATO to be completed. All integrated in one place, and you can manage the boundary and get the whole ATO done. Our goal here is to get the ATO process to go from months to less than 90 days is part of the promise that the product actually brings us. The other part I want to quickly show you is how this is actually built. So the concept that we have introduced is what we call meta models. So every piece of information that is automated and brought into the package creation, which happens in a few seconds versus weeks, is because we were able to catalog all of the data that is required to build a package into the system ahead of the time. And it is configurable. This is actually templated heavily, including the activities, resource types, information types, and so on. Now, quickly, I want to also show you a flavor of additional capability that is meant for national security systems, as well as the DoD specific. So one of the examples here is to really track the DoD level information like CCIs that are next level down to the controls. That is all baked in. It also includes the capability to auto scheduling of continuous monitoring tasks. The system actually provides a lot of capability in that regard as well. And it also provides a lot of the capability to roll up this information when needed to really do the ATO process, including the ability to export and import of the actual data for integration with external systems like EMAS and Xacta and so on. So with that, I would like to switch it over to the case management. So the case management is really a two-component process. We do have a public-facing portal where User requests can be directly taken using the public website. And in the interest of time, I have created the records for us. But basically, what we have here is users can register using the Power Platform profile information with either through invitations or the actual Azure AD integration, depending on the context, or login.gov, whichever the case is. And then users will be able to quickly create the cases, and our ability here is within the application is to provide one-stop shop for the users, depending on the implementation of the enterprise, the ability to actually capture multiple case types. So if you have a different investigative case types or requests or benefit, they can all be bundled into enterprise case management, or they can individually provisioned as portals for the users to be able to submit. And I'll go over some of the information that how that helps as part of the overall. So to quickly show you how the interface looks like, as an example, this is a self-service portal. So as a user, you submit the cases. When you come back, your cases are already here, and you can go in and find out what's happening with them. As an example, I'm going to pick this request a FOIA. And what we have is a very clean and detailed information about what the case is, what type it is, who the primary contact, and you can capture additional contact types related to that case as well. And this is, again, the self-service feature where we can have the case processors to request more information, and it is directly coming into the actual portal for the users to be able to submit. You also have the ability to capture payment history. If there's a payments involved, we can directly integrate with external systems and capture the transactions, as well as provide the case progress as it is happening in the system. So this is a very simple yet powerful self-service portal that provides the case management for the recipients based on the context of the implementation. But the enterprise portal can support multiple types as needed for the enterprise. Now, that is the public-facing part of it. Now, the processors who are actually handling the cases actually have an excellent, highly configurable application for the internal processing. So as similar to the security armor, we are kind of using the design pattern to be a more of a workload management for the processors to be able to use, where they can see what type of activities are happening depending on various cases, and what type of actions that they are taking are completely transparent for them upfront, and also what type of priorities that they're handling for the activities depending on the workload that's coming in. And also have the ability to fully process different tasks using the platform features for activities and so on. Of course, the personalization of the cases and what they're handling as part of the process. Similarly, the concept is there for the smart assist wizards. So in case where the intake process is done internal without using the portal, or using both ways, we do have the ability to have a simple method to take the cases directly in the system and then process them accordingly. The manage section really shows an enterprise view of everything that is happening, who is working on how many activities as ownership, and what type of activities are really going on for case management of the application for the enterprise, and also what are some of the open activities going on. Also provides the ability to see what type of intake is happening and how things are due and so on. When we look at the cases dashboard, really the whole application again is analytics driven, so you will see what's happening even before you get into the records. In this case, the cases dashboard really shows what type of cases are being brought into the overall enterprise and how they are being processed, who is working on how many, how is the intake trend is happening. Again, all baked into the actual app. We can manage various external parties as companies, as well as the artifacts processing. So quickly, let me get into one of the cases so that I can show you what are the other some cool features that really help make this case management so much easier and better for the enterprise. So the lifecycle process for cases can change depending on the type of the case that is being worked on. So we have actually automated and created the process where the process is completely automated to change the workflows and change the lifecycle process based on the case type that is being used. We also provide the ability to capture details. So the details are also context sensitive. So when we look at the request for more information, we can actually provide what type of information do you want to request from the recipient. Are there different kinds of information that you want from for FOIA or for investigations and so on? I'll show you that a little bit more as we open another type. We also have the ability to capture different kinds of contacts for the cases, especially in some of the complex case managements, like benefits. You may have family contacts, you may have beneficiaries, and so on. All that is now possible as part of the configuration that you can use within the application. The processors are also managed as a team to really provide the full life cycle. Now, what you're noticing here is the internal app is actually reflecting a lot of information that is coming from the portal. For the processors, it is highly productive tabular approach here that they can do a very quick resolution process around it. We do have activities. Again, the platform activities features are all baked in here. All the documents are flown in for anybody processing the actual. Then also, we do take care of some of the related information. For example, assessments, research. What type of research is needed? If there is that information also captured, and any documents related to it can be captured. Approvals. Now, the resolution process is also automated. So as an example, if I want to say, okay, this FOIA is done, when I say resolved, you can see that it pre-populated some of the information that is based on the meta models, which I will show you how this whole thing works, so that you can assist the processors in completing the cases a lot faster and more accurately. So let me open one other type and kind of show you a different kind of the flow. So in this case, you can see here for the investigative, the process changes, as well as just to quickly show, if I'm collecting a different kind of information, it automatically changes what type of info that I'm actually looking for this type of case. So a lot of data-driven capabilities to really address the case management aspects. Now, quickly, let me get into how this is actually built and why this is so powerful in the enterprises and agencies. So, platform actually provides the ability to create your own case types, and you can link them back into the UX elements as well as the business process elements as part of the process. So you can easily, if there is a new case type came as part of the whatever happened in the world for an agency, especially the Homeland Security as well as the national security related cases, you can quickly drop in a type and start collecting the intake process right away. Each one of these case types also have the ability to capture different kinds of information, and that information can be automatically created as part of the process in the meta models. That includes artifact types, resolution templates that we just used a second ago, as you know, we were using this, and whatever the data I provide here, it would be used as part of the case resolutions in the future. Approval statuses, contact types. You can have applicants, you can have recipients, you can have beneficiaries, co-applicants, petitioners, and so on. All that is now baked in to the actual process for us to be able to configure different use cases. We also have task types to really assist the case processors to do the work as part of the lifecycle process. We also model fees. So anytime there is a case type and if there's fees involved, you can actually model the amounts, and it automatically puts back into the cases based on the type and calculates the numbers as they are making the payments. We also automated the analysis objectives. So for some of the complex cases, there may be a need to understand how we analyze the actual case. That is also can be automated using the objectives that go directly into the different cases. So with that, let me bring back here and really pause quickly for PB's comments or and move on or drill into more additional capabilities that you all like to see.
So I don't have any comments, Praveen. I think they're on a mute till about 1:45. So if you would like to kind of drill more into the capabilities in either one, security armor or case management, I think we could elaborate more features since we have time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so one of the things I do want to get a little bit more detail into is the security armor meta model aspects. One of the complex elements of the accreditation boundary management is really understanding what type of resources are there in the enterprise. What Security Armor does is it provides a full capability to track all types of resources with your own definitions of what they are. They can be sensors, they can be databases, they can be cloud services. They can all be modeled as part of the application, and you can actually group them into systems. So let me go over the systems portfolio a little bit more in detail. So one of the areas that we always find challenging is, as part of the accreditation, is understanding what type of elements are there in our ATO. So if you go back to one of the examples that we were looking at here in the example. So in this case, there is a system called March 2024. When I click on it, what I have the ability to see is, okay, what type of solution is it? If I have the data here, what type of architecture that it actually has, what environments are being supported for this system, and are there any specific solution diagrams or artifacts that can be managed? So one of the areas that we always get queries on is, how did you build the system? How is the boundary actually created, and what type of resources are there? And with the security armor, you can actually do that right in the actual record. The other aspect I want to show you is the automation. So if I go back to one of the FedRAMP ones. So what you notice here is, again, the process flows are dynamic. So for FedRAMP, we have connect, readiness, categorize, and so on. And they're all baked in. And you will notice that the UX actually changed to provide the various elements that are applicable to the FedRAMP certification. Again, the application is smart enough to provide some of the context-based data that is more pertinent for the security professionals to use as part of the process. So one other thing I think is really useful to understand is how this actually works. What we have done is we have created a automation capability that builds a triggering mechanism based on where you are in the lifecycle process. As an example, if I am in the categorization phase or I am in the select phase of the process for the RMF or for the FedRAMP security, I could choose to load controls automatically. And primarily what this does is it provides the ability for the security professionals to directly load the controls that are relevant to this particular authorization based on the impact level of the actual ATO or FedRAMP authorization that you're trying to do. And all this control information is already, as we looked at in the admin area, baked into the system. So what we are actually doing is we are able to bring in a lot of the data that NIST publishes for us and brings in, we clean up the text, we make sure that it is relevant to each controls that are applicable to various types of the ATOs that you're about to do. And we load them automatically. When you select the lifecycle process, it automatically loads all the controls relevant to this particular accreditation impact level, which is low in this case. And we got 125 actual controls baked into the process. Then we also have assessments associated with the actual controls that are relevant to here. So let me quickly go over the full life cycle process so that we kind of cover the breadth of overall what it takes to actually do it and why we think that this is going to be a quick process to do the actual ATOs. So if I go back to my ATO example here, I'll walk you through a quick process here. So when we are in the prepare stage, we're making sure that the actual assessments are initial information is actually captured. And one of the important elements here is the actual control set. So this is how you specify the ATO, the record, what type of controls that you're about to load, in this case 5.1. Once this is completed and you're also doing the activity set, which is basically baseline project plan, which primarily loaded into the activities tab here. Then we also have categorization. Well, categorization is really telling the ATO process in the system to say, okay, what type of information types are we really loading? And what we have done is we have actually preloaded all the information types, pulling from the PDFs that NIST publishes and directly into the system. So you really just need to select some of these information types, and the system actually calculates the impact level for us. And then based on the impact level, it starts loading the actual controls. So the package creation process becomes so fluid and easy here, because all you're doing is you're going through the steps of the RMF and selecting the information types, and the controls are selected for you based on that. There's also the ability to overload controls with privacy, PCI, SERM, and so on, and tailored any custom based on what's needed for the enterprise. We also have the ability to auto-load the assessments. So what does that really mean? So the assessments are the guidelines that are provided by NIST, and they're provided in different formats. What the security armor does is, again, it assists the security professionals to compile all this information directly into the record. So the assessors exactly know what procedures to follow and what to test to make sure that the control requirements are satisfied. And I think with that, one other aspect to note here is really the authorization. So one of the challenges with the authorization today is there is a briefing that happens, and then we have an email chain that's going back and forth. Now, with the security armor, you can do all that right in the system. And the way it works is it's really selecting an automation. So once you select the request, system actually creates the record. It sends the notification to the authorizer who is supposed to be approving it. And once the authorizer comes to the system, they can actually go into the authorization tab and actually approve it. So again, it's a full lifecycle process to really go through and complete the entire lifecycle. One other last pieces I think would be extremely useful is the ability to manage various assessment companies as well as the CSP's data. So for FedRAMP certification context, you can actually have a full breadth of database about who are your third-party assessors are, and also different CSPs that you may be working with to get some of the boundaries going on from a federal authorization process perspective.
Praveen, we're coming up to 1:45. Could you put up the slide with our contact information if anybody here wants to follow up and do a deeper dive or interested in looking at this more for their client or for themselves?
Yep, absolutely.
That way they have our contact information.
Okay, alrighty. Back to you, Craig.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so very much, NetImpact Strategies team, for presenting and walking through all that for us. Really interesting stuff.